Summary. Pakistan, Beyond the Crisis State contains 17 articles that can be categorized into 5 major parts according to their nature. The first part aims to discuss history, the second part pertains to foreign policy, the third part discusses the role of the army, the fourth part suggests ways to boost the country's competitiveness, and the final part illustrates the problems faced by Pakistan in the form of the energy crisis, education, bad governance, and militancy. This Pakistan, Beyond the Crisis State book review will provide you with critical knowledge of different aspects of Pakistan's problems. All the articles are well written with authentic material. These articles contribute to the deconstruction of Pakistan's stereotypical image and present an unbiased perspective with a scholarly bent and jargon-based language. Most authors claim that there are pragmatic solutions to move Pakistan beyond the crisis state and revert the country to the path of socio-economic development and prosperity. Pakistan, Beyond the Crisis State Summary. Pakistan, Beyond the Crisis, the State is a must-read book for CSS aspirants and policymakers of Pakistan. This book contains facts and figures that will be useful to aspirants seeking concrete, substantial knowledge. Although it was written in 2011, it still seems relevant today. The issues confronting Pakistan today are the same, and the authors have addressed all basic policy issues. Chapter No. 1 The Past as Present, Aisha Jalal. Pakistan, Beyond the Crisis State starts with the article of a renowned historian, Aisha Jalal, entitled The Past as Present. In the article, she highlights the significance of history in catalyzing the contemporary challenges and problems faced by Pakistan. According to Aisha Jalal, Pakistan's path toward a national identity for its diverse people has been obstructed because its history has been co-opted for political and ideological reasons. She further stresses the understanding of various historical points, such as the 9/11 attack, separation of East Pakistan, militancy, and Pakistan's position in relation to India, is critical for the people of Pakistan to have a clearer perspective. To change the strategic course of reason and recast the rational framework, an assessment of the troubled present in light of the troubled past is required. Psychologically introverted national mindsets that are resistant to critical self-assessment tend to be paranoid. The people of Pakistan cannot develop historical consciousness in the absence of credible history. Pakistan has struggled to project a national identity that can strike a sympathetic chord with its diverse population. After 75 years of independence, Pakistan is still grappling with the challenge of defining the inner and outer contours of its national identity. The dilemma stems from an obstinate refusal to accept the bitter realities of the historical circumstances surrounding its birth. Critical awareness of Pakistan's present predicament through the lens of history can overcome the real deficit and foster political will that can allow Pakistan to emerge from its daunting present. Chapter No. 2 is Why Jinnah Matters by Akbar Ahmed. He focuses on the role of Jinnah in the creation of Pakistan and distilled his speeches on the issue of Pakistan as an Islamic and secular state. He discusses the idea of a theocratic state and a modern state in which religion has nothing to do with state affairs. Akbar writes with regret that the political leaders frittered away the legacy of Jinnah. He further asserts that Jinnah's vision of an inclusive modern state could have been an answer to the problems that Pakistan has faced in its turbulent history. The ideas given by Jinnah in numerous speeches could offer practical solutions to solve Pakistan's contemporary challenges. Jinnah repeatedly said that Pakistan should not be a theocratic state with a divine mission. There was a rationale why Jinnah never used the term Riyasat-e-Medina, which was not because of his vaunted indifference towards religion. Jinnah was clear about the country's constitution from start. He stated it would be a non-theocratic parliamentary democracy based on the principles of social justice, equality, and fair play. His speech to the Constituent Assembly of Pakistan is a classic and assertive espousal of a secular state, in which every citizen is free to practice his own religion, and the state will make no distinction between citizens on the grounds of faith. Chapter No. 3 is Why Pakistan Will Survive by Mohsin Hamid. It can be best summed up as there is always a ray of light at the end of every dark tunnel. He presents an optimistic view of Pakistan by shedding light on our country's key strengths and competencies. He asserts that Pakistan is a blessed country and has numerous feathers in its cap, which many countries in the world just wish to have. Furthermore, he highlighted various dimensions of identity, diversity, religion, culture, and ideology, with more emphasis on democracy. Pakistan is bestowed with an enormous youth population, an independent media, multi-party democracy, cultural diversity, tolerance, and coexistence among people. Our culture defines who we are, and our traditions reflect our inner beauty. We are a kind, passionate, and grateful nation. Nevertheless, the global community constantly victimized us. According to Mohsin Hamid, we are not as poor as we like to think and to reach its full potential. Pakistan needs to make better use of its people and resources. At the end of this chapter, he argues that better tax collection can serve the development sector better. Because tax evasion is a major hurdle impeding Pakistan, as our tax amount is only 10% of our GDP. Our true war is not against terrorism or the Cold War with India over Kashmir, but against the elite sectors that refuse to pay taxes. Chapter No. 4 is Beyond the Crisis State by Maleeha Lodhi. Maleeha Lodhi's own chapter is a detailed overview of historical and political glitches in Pakistan. Since its inception, Pakistan has been living at the crossroads of a crumbling economy and polarized politics, trapped in a quagmire of weak governance. She asserts that civil-military tussle, lust for power, feudalism, and General Zia's impulsive use of Islam, all these events lay a serious burden on history, which has an intricate relationship with the present. This chapter presented 3 governance challenges resulting from a complex interplay of internal and external forces. The first factor that contributed to governance issues emerged as a result of the country's protracted Cold War engagements, and strained relations with its neighbors and allies exacerbated it. The second factor exacerbated the governance challenge sparked by the territorial dispute over the Kashmir region. This led to an increase in the state's hard power while human security deteriorated. The third challenge was concerned with disastrous economic policies during the Bhutto regime. Moreover, she discussed 5 fault lines in Pakistan's polity that should be reduced to start a new course in politics that connects governance to public purpose. The first is the power asymmetry between elected and unelected institutions. Secondly, political patronage and the feudal system have cultivated a clientelist politics. Thirdly, the politics of borrowed growth to cater balance of payments and budget deficits has inhibited structural reforms in the country. Fourthly, Pakistan's enduring quest for security and strategic depth has been a daunting challenge. Lastly, the issue of religion and bitter ideological controversies pose an existential threat to the state. In this chapter, she claims that the dynamics of the state and society have changed. Chapter No. 5 Army and Politics by Shuja Nawaz. Shuja Nawaz contends in this chapter that the army must be kept out of political matters if Pakistan wants to survive as a successful nation. Pakistan's history is full of conflict between the country's poorly developed political system and a well-equipped army. Our country is in a predicament of internal divisions and the forces of modernism and radical Islam. Successive political leaders subjugated and eviscerated the vaunted administrative structure while also weakening the education system. According to his article, the role of the armed forces is to fight a war against an external enemy, but their interference in civil administration increases the possibility of corruption, which can erode citizens' faith in their armed forces. Recent events unveiled in Pakistani politics have clearly demonstrated the control of army over the country's politics, even though the generals don't rule the country directly. The army's role was not to meddle in politics but to provide undying loyalty to the elected government. Chapter No. 5 is Praetorians and the People by Saeed Shafqat. 2 paradoxical trends emerged in the aftermath of the 2008 elections. The first is political continuity, in which traditional feudal, religious, and business families are entering the political sphere. Secondly, a shift in the composition of civil and military bureaucracies was evident. The history of Pakistan exemplifies how the military elite disbanded the entire democratic and political culture. In this chapter, Saeed Shafqat argues that elections are a critical procedural component in transitioning from a military hegemonic to a party-based proportional representative system. The ruling class in Pakistan has marginalized the people. The elite is more concerned with its own privileges than with serving the public. Furthermore, he presented three sets of arguments in this chapter. The first is the transformation of elite structures changing the dynamics of elite interactions. Second, despite significant constraints, the political leadership is attempting to maintain a multi-party system. Third, the war on terror has impacted the prospects for democratic development in Pakistan, reshaping civil-military relations. In a democracy, the supreme task of the military is to defend the country's national borders, but in Pakistan, the military has played its role as the harbinger of havoc. Thanks for watching. Subscribe the channel.